Here in Missouri, it is still snowing a little bit. The roads are clear, so that's good. But we're gathering for our midweek devotion every week about 11 o'clock on Wednesdays. I offer a sort of video version of the devotion I write for each week. If you want to receive this on Monday mornings in print in your email, comment and let us know so we can get you on that email list. Well, let's get started. When I was about seven, my grandparents took my brother and me on vacation to the northern part of Minnesota during our summer break. We left the relative heat and humidity of the Iowa summer behind with dreams of walleye and northern pike and bass and maybe even muskie flooding our thoughts. We were going to Minnesota for vacation, but really was to go fishing. We wouldn't go out on the lake. We couldn't go out on the lake when we first got there. It was a bit of a drive, so we got there late in the day. So we just sort of wet our whistle by casting lines over the dock and seeing what we could catch. And we caught a few things right away. So we were excited. So we had plans to set out early the next morning for the real adventure. And that was fine by me. I am an extreme morning person. Now, we woke up, donned our swim trunks and life vests, and grabbed our rods and our reels, and forgot, and then remembered the bait and tackle, and met our grandpa, our pa, out the boat. We clambered in, and we set off as the fog lifted. However, remember, I was seven, and it didn't take much time for boredom to set in for me. I wanted instant gratification. I expected the fish to jump into my boat, not me have to sit and wait patiently. And so I did what 7-year-olds did to entertain themselves. I got the lines tangled. I stabbed myself with fishing hooks. I talked too loud. I moved too much. I hit the water. I did all the wrong things if you really want to catch fish. Fed up with me, Pa navigated the boat back, dropped me off with my grandmommy, and then set off back onto the water with my brother. I had a good time on land, playing cards, board games, and reading, and it became much less of a fishing trip for me and more of a cabin vacation, and that was fine. And my successive attempts at fishing haven't gone much better since. There was a time I got second-degree burns on my legs because I didn't put any sunscreen on top of my thighs. There was a time I went out with a roommate who caught about a bass fish, a rock bass, about every, I don't know, 5-10 minutes while I just sat there fuming because I didn't catch a single thing. My greatest claim to fame is last summer. I went down to the lake and cast off a dock, and the biggest thing I caught was maybe a 3-inch bluegill. Great. So when Jesus uses the metaphor of fishing for being one of his disciples, for following him, for teaching others about the kingdom, for sharing the good news, I think maybe that's not the image for me. Sure, he's doing some wordplay because the potential disciples he's calling are actually fishermen, but even still, I'm a little wary. There's a hesitancy for most people. Our self-confidence for evangelism, or fishing for people, as Jesus calls it, reflects a 7-year-old Will when he set foot on that dock after that first failed fishing session, just happy to do something, anything else. Whether it's the results aren't instant, or we don't feel prepared, or we're afraid of doing something wrong, or worried we might accidentally insult the person, inviting people to come and follow doesn't seem particularly appealing for most people these days. Serve in a soup kitchen? You bet. Pray for a dying cat? Why not? Play bingo at an old folks' home? I'd rather not, but that seems easy enough. But talk to people about faith, a big N-O. However, in focusing on the fishing for people part, or the traditional fishers of men, we often miss what Jesus said. Come, follow me, he said, and I'll show you how to fish for people. A different translation puts it, I'll make you fishers of people. Or even the King James, I'll make you a fisher of men. Matthew 4:19. Either way, either translation, The onus is not on us to sort of, I don't know, pull ourselves by our proverbial evangelism bootstraps. It's actually on Jesus. Jesus shows us how to share the good news, reach people where they're at, help how you can share your story. Jesus makes us capable of showing how the kingdom is near in Him, how people find health, people find hope. In following Him, we are shown and transformed to do the work He calls us to do. God, Jesus, the Spirit, does not find what is pleasing, but makes it. And our confidence in evangelism shouldn't be in our ability to do it, even if we are a great person who brings in hordes of people to Christ. It shouldn't make us proud of ourselves. Shouldn't even expect that we are given something special. It isn't in having all the answers or knowing your Bible cover to cover or getting results right away. We can invite people to experience Jesus, His grace and His mercy, because He has made us able. All we need to share is our own stories of how He has affected us. Granted, sometimes that looks like serving at a soup kitchen, praying for dying cats, or playing bingo, but it also means being ready to share why you're doing those things in the first place. Jesus has already given you everything you need to be a good angler. Now it's just being willing to cast that line or throw the net. Thanks for joining me for this week's devotion. I hope you heard a word of grace. God makes you into a good fisherman. Maybe not really, but you have the good story that you were able to share about how He has affected your life. That doesn't mean you're going to catch a smallmouth bass or a walleye, but not everybody can be good at that. I'm certainly not. So we hope to see you again next week or for worship this upcoming Sunday. But if not, our benediction is the same as always. God be with you till